Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Royally Stupid. I'm Drew Absher.
And I'm local guy. How's everybody doing, man? Drew, how are you doing?
I'm all right, man. Yeah, it's been kind of just a busy week. I had a couple of it's like in an action movie when the hero gets shot in the leg,
Okay.
That's what the last couple of weeks have been like for me emotionally and mentally, where it's like, the hero's going to survive. You know that a shot to the
Right.
leg isn't going to hit an artery on John Wick.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've been limping. I've been
Gotcha.
limping. I've watched this is The Killer. Have you seen it on Netflix?
I have not.
You a movie guy? We didn't
I
talk about
am.
this.
I
Okay.
intended to actually go see that in theaters. I'm
Oh, it
sure
was
it's still
released in
showing in
theaters, yeah.
theaters. But
Are you a David Fincher fan?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
yeah, generally a fan of his work.
This is for you and everyone at home. Just watch it on Netflix. Don't waste your money.
Okay.
It's a pretty big flunk in my opinion. But anyway, yeah, there's a scene where oh wait, you know what? I'm thinking of the new Fargo season. I'm conflated. There's moments that were similar. The Fargo season's good so far.
Oh, yeah?
But, yeah.
Because I heard because I've never seen the Fargo TV show.
Sure.
I know about the movie. I've never seen the movie. I should probably watch it.
Yeah, the movie's one of my top 10 all
I mean,
time.
like, dude, Frances McDormand she's
Yeah.
a freaking powerhouse.
That's her star vehicle.
But I heard the first season of Fargo was good. Then there was one where like Chris Rock was the main protagonist, right? And I heard that one was so.
Yeah, but they got screwed by COVID production stuff.
Gotcha.
Like they had to use a bunch of B-roll stuff supposedly that
Okay.
they weren't planning on using. So,
Okay.
yeah, I like Fargo the movie is one of my favorites of all time.
Okay.
So yeah, you
Gotcha.
should definitely
Yeah,
watch
I gotta
that
cue that up.
because I will quote it from time to time, and I want you to be ready. It's not about
Gotcha.
your damn word, Jerry. Yeah, the TV show's great too. But there was a part where like the star of the show got shot in the leg and he was like limping to a gas station. And I was like, that's how I felt the past 2 weeks. Where
Man.
I emailed a college professor yesterday and was like, I no longer am doing the thing that I needed your class for in my major. So just a heads up, the quality of work coming in will not be reflective of how I feel about you as a person. I was just basically like, yeah, you're not getting.
Well, at least you kept it real with him. You know.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah. She's like it's a teaching class, so I'm not going to go into the credential program anymore. So it's like it's not even like it's a history class and I don't need it for my history. It's like it's so separate from what my degree is at this point that like I'm just like I can't prioritize this over the classes I need to.
Totally understand. Been there before, because I signed up for when I was in college. There were a couple of times where I signed up for classes that I did not need, but that was unbeknownst to me when I was getting my units in order. You know, and I always needed to get at least 12 units each semester because full time financial aid, right?
Yes.
So
FAFSA, thank you for funding.
Shout out to the feds, man.
Check out everyone. If you're seeing any of the furniture in this apartment, you're like, that looks nice. Shout out FAFSA.
Yeah, man. FAFSA and then the State University grant system.
Sleepy Joe doling out cash to me, dude.
Yeah, Uncle Donnie covered us during the pandemic.
Totally.
So there you go. You know, shout out to the feds, man. But also the State University grant system too. You know, because I have a sister who we're only a year apart, so she was at Sac State at the same time I was, and they were nice enough to be like, oh, there's two of you here. Well, we're gonna have to really help you out then. And I'm definitely in the minority here, but graduated college with minimal to no debt.
Nice.
And I'm grateful for that all the time. Although I went to Sac State in the 2000s when tuition was nothing. So so I came out in the green most of the time and just pocketed a lot of that money. And just don't have any student loans to pay off. And now I'm free to that's why I do a lot of unemployed type activities.
Yeah, you really are
tweeting.
You're just living
walking around. Yeah, walking
around.
Downtown when I'm not clocked in at Arby's and just like looking at shit. Like that's my typical day off.
See, I've taken out a ton of student loans, but I don't need them. I'm just balling on. I'll just stunt on hoes.
It's just a move to stunt.
I'm stunting on my ex hoes with it.
Yeah, there you go.
How have you been, man? How's everything going?
You know what, man? Definitely busy as well. Thanksgiving week was just busy.
Yeah.
Just a lot of stuff going on. I saw both my grandmothers. That's always nice. They're both in their 80s. My dad's mom, so my Benoit, she just turned 88 the day before Thanksgiving. Yeah, man, doing well, and saw both of them on the same day. That's always nice. So just ate a shit ton of food. Do you ever on Thanksgiving Day or on occasions where you're going to eat a lot? Do you ever like step on the scale before you do the eating and then you step on it afterwards just to see exactly how much food you consumed?
No, I'm a strict no scale guy
Okay.
for the most part.
Okay.
I check when I'm like, have I put on a ton of weight? Like when I feel like I haven't been living a very healthy lifestyle.
Sure.
I will check. But yeah, I'm a pretty strict. I like how I feel. I like how I look kind of guy.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you there
Are you
as
a
well.
scale on the
but I
bathroom
am a
guy?
scale guy because I got a digital scale that connects to an app that gives me like all the stats, right? Like,
Damn, dude,
you know,
that
it's
seems
like
like
it's
a
like
nightmare.
2K.
Yeah.
Like inside
Just-
scoring.
it tells you what
ball
kind of player you
handling,
are?
Yeah, speed, quickness, court awareness.
Two-way scoring guard.
Yeah.
Just tells
Two-way
how you
slashing
weigh.
playmaker. But yeah, I stepped on that before I went and did all the eating that I did that day, and then I came home and I was like, oh no.
What was the number if you don't
Oh,
want
dude, I basically ate like 5-6 pounds of food
Jeez.
that day. Yeah.
I
So
see,
I knew the next day. So I was in the gym the next day on Black Friday, and I was like,
Yeah.
we have to be here. We
This
have
was
no
the
choice.
first year of my life that the amount of food I ate grossed me out. Like, I don't know. I was saying this. People were getting mad at me. I'm 28, and this is, like, the first year where, like, the idea of going and playing football afterwards, like, was not appealing even in the slightest. You know what I mean? Like,
So you had family members that were like, dude, what's your problem?
No,
We're
not
gonna-
this.
Okay.
But I mean that, like, every single year I get nostalgic about playing football on
Gotcha.
Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
And this year I was like, oh, my God, I could not imagine. Like, I'm so glad that I don't have, like, grown nieces and nephews right
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
Because I would have. That was why my dad was all-time QB, I suppose.
Oh, okay.
My dad must have been like, I'll be all-time QB because there's no way in hell I'm fucking taking 2 steps faster than walking pace right now.
Right.
So, yeah, maybe that was it. But, yeah, I ate, like, a disgusting amount of food. And people say, like, that's the point. And I'm not sure if that is the point.
Yeah, I don't really just the whole holiday. If we really
Yeah.
want to get down to the nitty gritty with it,
Yeah.
the origins it's not the best origin story.
Sure.
Right? I mean, I've told a lot of people over the years, like, if I was there at the first Thanksgiving, I would have stepped in. I would have done something about it.
Right.
Because what happened to the Native Americans just does not sit right with me.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, I was 5-6 centuries late. Like, what
Right.
are you going to do about it?
You
Like,
were
it's-
born in this time period to work at the Arby's.
Yep, to work at Arby's.
God has a plan for
Yep,
everyone.
God has a plan for everybody. My plan is to do an insane amount of marketing for free for
Yes.
Arby's online, and then also clock in for 46 hours per week
Yeah.
at the store.
What if we found out that your free promotion of Arby's is the only way that's staying in business? Like, they're running off just the Arby's that you say you work at. Because I think that there's a good, like, your free marketing is probably 30% of their exposure at this point. 60% of it was Jon Stewart always shitting on them.
Right.
And now they have, like,
But
10%
now-
that goes
yeah,
into the
now
guy
he
who goes,
doesn't-
we have the meat.
He doesn't do the Daily Show anymore.
No.
So that's they can't get any of the marketing via his platform anymore.
Exactly.
I don't know if I found out that I was me
Yeah.
alone. I was keeping the lights on at those stores. Then I would just have to keep doing it, man. I
Yeah.
would do it. I would do it for the people out there who are just like me, who love Arby's, and not only do I keep the lights on there, but also in turn they pay me since I work there. So
Yeah.
I gotta
That is. I mean, you are just like a company man through and through. I'd say.
100%. Yeah.
I told you about it. Oh, we on Saturday we saw each other at the
Yes.
Midtown Sac
Kang Swap,
Swap.
White Elephant Gift Exchange. Shout out to the Midtown guys.
Yeah, if you weren't there and you maybe wanted to be or you couldn't make it for whatever reason, we are doing more of them eventually. We're trying to figure out the logistics of it all. But I saw you there. I was going to relay this story on the podcast. I thought it might be fun. Is my family had to do Thanksgiving on Friday
Okay.
due to some custody stuff with my nephew. So we do it on Friday every other year. And that meant we had to watch the Kings game like with the whole extended family there. And my uncle was fucking killing me, dude. Every single time someone moved, he was like, travel. I was like, would you shut the fuck up? Holy shit, dude. Like, how annoying could you be? It's not even like right, wrong, or indifferent. It's being the guy who's watching basketball with a like large group of people and thinking you're like somehow being. It's like watching a movie being like, that would never happen. That would never happen. That would never happen. It's like even if you're right, could you allow everyone else to suspend disbelief?
Yeah.
You fucking party pooper.
Just for a few minutes, man.
I'm like, who cares? Like, do you want to see the world's best athletes be held to the same standards you hold a middle schooler to?
Yeah, come on.
Absolutely
man.
not.
These guys are freaks too. So yes, to you it may look like a travel, but to those referees in person watching it live, I that's why I try not to shit on referees as much. Some of them definitely power tripping, like egotistical, a-holes.
I've
right?
never noticed, but sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So,
they all
you know
seem
what? Yeah,
pretty
you know
fair
what?
and balanced.
We should be
to
a
me.
pro referee pod too. And I think,
I mean, given that Minnesota game, how could you not be?
I know, seriously,
certain
man.
that
Yeah.
all the calls are going correctly.
Yeah. But it is a thankless job because
Yeah.
when they do a great job, we never say, oh, they called a great game.
Right.
It's just like, no, they just did their jobs. And then of course if they do one thing wrong, it's magnified and
They're like offensive linemen.
Yeah, basically. Essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just like, they did a great job run blocking and road grading the entire game. You get called for one hold, oh, that guy sucks.
Yeah,
You know? Yeah.
exactly.
I totally. Yeah, that's a pretty fair analogy.
The problem with referees too is that like what you said is like they're freak athletes is an important thing to remember because like there's a much bigger discussion to be had about the referees union, and I know Scott Foster kind of got pulled into the news over the past couple weeks here. But why are they allowed to be like 80 years old?
I don't know.
Like it's
No
not
idea.
it's not even like I'm very pro union. I appreciate the referees union, and I actually do like hate it as a fan that they keep the referees like away from the media.
Yeah.
But like as a person who understands what that would entail, I do like appreciate it, and so like I'm pro referees union in that way. But it's insane to me they don't force retirement. Like it's a job where you need to be moving.
It's on the same level as, government.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do we have octogenarians
I agree.
still in office, right? It's kind of the same deal.
Dick Bavetta is Sleepy Dick. Sleepy Dick Bavetta.
Do you remember when he raced Charles Barkley
Yes,
at
at the
All-Star
All-Star
Weekend
game.
that one time, and then he kissed him on the lips afterwards?
Dude, I thought that was a fever dream I had. I didn't
I'm
realize
like, dude,
anyone
what is it
remembered
like?
that.
It's like that and Kevin Hart going against Draymond Green in a 3-point shooting contest.
Yeah,
and he
forgot about
won.
that.
But you can't have Kevin Hart beating an NBA player in a 3-point shooting contest. And that was a turning point for Draymond Green. Ever since then, that guy has not looked at the basket outside of like 18 feet.
Wow,
It's kinda crazy.
that's a nice Drew conspiracy theory.
Dude,
right
no,
there.
I think the numbers will dole that out.
That's
They
crazy.
they will tell you that since then, like Draymond has not been the same 3-point shooter, and now you can just tell by the way he plays, he just doesn't even look at the rim.
Well, hold on, we're a pro Draymond podcast. Let's not go.
That is true.
Let's not
but,
go too far here.
I'm just
He's an important piece of a championship dynasty.
I like to be fair and balanced, like my favorite news network.
Right.
So if I'm just trying to be objective here with Draymond Green. Like I love the guy.
He's not the
treated
offensive
poorly.
threat he used to be.
Yes.
But he's still the epicenter of their offense.
Exactly.
Draymond, we love you. Come on the podcast.
Yeah, he is the hub of that offense. Yes, come on the pod, Draymond, or have us on your podcast after the game on Tuesday.
Let's do a like a crossover.
yeah, why not?
We'll rent out Tom's watch party bar. Or whatever.
Yeah, whatever the hell it's called.
I was gonna say another All-Star Weekend fever dream moment was. Do you remember when they did the draft of All-Star players? Do you remember that? And it was like Steve Kerr was on the panel. It's like Barkley, Kenny, Steve Kerr. They have like a ton of like analysts from the time, and it's like an 8-person draft, and they're drafting like all-timers.
Okay.
But Charles Barkley got confused between drafting like an all-time, like they should have called it like the all NBA draft,
Right. Right.
But they called it the All-Star draft. So Charles Barkley, with pick first in the first round, takes Allen Iverson. It's one of my favorite TNT NBA moments. Everyone's like, "Wow,
Dude, that I can't speak highly enough of inside the NBA.
I love
and
it.
the NBA on
Yeah.
TNT. They've always been to me, even from just a play-by-play perspective. Before Marv Albert kind of just same deal with him. He just got a little bit too old, and he kind of just now Kevin Harlan's their main guy. It's like, oh, this is great. Like they have a great group of play-by-play guys, decent analysts, but they've always been the superior product compared to ESPN.
yeah,
it's really though the studio crew that just sets them apart. Like
They're the best.
They're the absolute best. Yeah, and you don't even care that these guys don't even really talk about the X's and O's. And,
I would be mad if they tried to.
Yeah, exactly, because these guys, it's all about just the theatrics and just the random BS that they'll get into. I remember as a kid, like this is like the early 2000s when Charles first started working there.
Yeah.
Kenny was already there, and then they actually had Magic Johnson on as one of the studio guys.
Magic Johnson was during that. I think he's on that draft as well.
Oh, okay, yeah. So then that matches up. And I remember one time just to troll Kenny, and then, mind you, this is like 2003 or something, like 2004, just to troll Charles Barkley. They held a party for people who had only won NBA titles on the studio set, and it was Magic and it was Kenny. And Kenny took EJ as his +1, and they made Charles stand outside of the party area, and they were just looking at him the entire time they were eating food and like throwing down drinks. And I'm just like, this is incredible. This is.
I would love to produce.
So
I want to produce that show so bad. It would be so fun to tell them to feed Shaq lines.
Yeah.
Just be in Shaq's ear, say, "Call him fat right now. Right now, call him fat. Call him fat right this second, Shaq."
Yeah, or like. Give one of them the beat on when to run to the screen, because that's like one of their bits.
Yeah.
And like we've seen people just absolutely eat shit trying to run.
Yeah, I
to
was
the
watching
screen.
the other night, and Kenny put like a step stool in front of Charles Barkley to try to trip him. I'm like, Charles Barkley's at an age where if he falls, that might be the last thing he does.
I know, man.
You
gotta
can't
be
trying
careful.
to trip a guy who's 7 feet tall.
Dude, unbelievable. Yeah, those guys are the best.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Hey, just to bring this all, put a bow on this whole thing. Thanksgiving was cool. Hope everybody else out there had a great Thanksgiving. Again, you and I saw each other.
Yes.
At the King's Swap. You did tie in the story about your uncle with Tom Brady as well, because Tom Brady was talking about how there's no development and how the game these days is not the same. It's like, Tom, didn't you just play last year? Know, like, and I guess.
And then Alex Smith
came in and
eviscerated him.
And just eviscerated him, and then also his colleague on the set with him at the time, Rex Ryan, because Rex Ryan coached in that same division that he was shitting on.
Yeah, he's totally right. He's like,
but he's
Tom Brady
100%
just destroyed that division for.
Yeah.
There was no quarterback. There was not like a quarterback from that division that even stands out.
Yeah.
Flacco.
No, Flacco's not even in the division. He's in the
AFC
North.
I'm sorry. I was thinking
like
Flacco.
Ryan Fitzpatrick might
Sanchez,
be like,
Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, that's right. Sanchez for like 3 years.
Yeah,
got him to an
Mark
AFC
Sanchez
title
was
game.
good. But no one on the Dolphins. No one on the Titans, right?
No, the Titans are they're in the South. So yeah.
South.
So it's the Bills, the Dolphins,
yep.
and the Jets.
Yeah.
And those three teams gave Tom Brady no resistance.
Yeah, the Bills, that was the other team.
For 2 decades. So
Yeah, so fuck Tom Brady and and my uncle's a dumbass for citing him.
Oh my god, dude. That is hilarious.
Dude, it's so funny that
so
I have
funny.
like an uncle that fits that trope so hard. Like he is like a total Republican sports fan. And if you're like, wow, Drew, you're saying a lot about your uncle on the podcast. It's like the guy's never seen me do stand-up comedy in like 9 years.
Yeah.
So I don't really care.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have any idea. But yeah,
he'll never listen
what's
to
funny is I don't have any uncles that are like that.
Yeah.
I mean, most of my uncles are just immigrants anyways, and they're just there to have a good time, just drink and eat. But I had a friend my age.
Boy.
And like in our 20s, he became that guy. Maybe not so much a Republican, but just like
it's the attitude. It's not about his political
it's not
views.
exactly. It's not about where you fall on the political spectrum. It's really just your attitude towards
what it really boils down to is like, do you like if I show you a video of jacked up highlights from ESPN?
Oh man, R.I.P. jacked up.
Yeah, do you get nostalgic or do you get fearful for your favorite players? That's really the separator. Is like if I show you a guy being decapitated at the 50-yard line by a free safety, does that make you happy or sad? Dude, that's really what it comes down to. Is like, it's like the same thing with the travel thing. It's like it's a slippery slope to like, well, if a guy comes into the paint like that, the teams I like, that guy gets sent to the third row. Right. It's like that attitude. You're like, shut up.
Yeah, it's like, dude,
I want to watch the cool people do cool stuff.
Yeah, the game wasn't in the best place at that time.
Yeah.
We were watching teams grind out 83 to 81 victories.
Yes.
Like,
And also, it's like, are you shocked that the 6'10" guy can body slam the 6'4" guy?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
why is that entertaining?
Yeah, like
for
like
you?
when the Pistons did the whole Jordan rules thing, and they were just body blocking that guy every single time he came into the lane, and he just couldn't get over the hump those 3 years, couldn't get past those guys. It's like, well, yeah, Bill Laimbeer and like
fucking
John,
giant.
those guys are massive human beings. Like they're like Michael Jordan is 6'6".
Yes,
Those
skinny
guys
at the time.
Yeah, skinny,
Way
right?
less
He
muscle.
had to put on a ton of muscle to get past those guys finally, and it's just like, dude, that's not shocking that those guys are literally just murdering guards and wings when they come through the lane.
It's not fun to watch.
Yeah, man, it's just not fun to watch. So
it's it's fun to watch great defense when it's strategic, and so like I'm not anti that. Like, if my uncle was like, there's no like reason for guys to be playing defensively anymore, fouls are too soft, I'd be like, okay, like I disagree, but he's literally just like, why can't they be mean to each other anymore? It's the same guys who hate to see LeBron and KD smiling together.
Yeah,
it's like these guys are near billionaires.
Dude,
what would they be mad at each other for?
Literally, and it's just like, I don't know, man. Those guys, it's a lose-lose situation for those guys because if they don't like one another, it's like, where's the mutual respect? You got to respect your competitors because that's also like an old school thing as well.
Yeah.
But then the flip side of that is, they're smiling and saying what's up to one another after the game. These guys are fake tough guys. They don't care about basketball. They need to hate each other. Blah 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 blah.
So you had a friend that turned into that guy?
Dude, I had a friend who turned into that guy at like 24.
That's brutal.
Because he played college football.
Yep, that's it. That's it,
and
dude.
then like didn't really get to where he wanted to get to with it,
That's it.
And then just immediately is just like he's shitting on like college football players, he's shitting on NFL players, And I'm just like, this is just not cool. It was just it was kind of that negativity bled through to like all facets of his life, and then I couldn't do it anymore.
That's why you can't. If you have someone in your life that's turning into that guy or is that guy, you have to put a foot on it because that is a permeating thought process. Dude, me and my uncle a couple years ago got into it at Thanksgiving.
Same uncle?
Yeah, same. I only have one uncle.
Okay.
It's just him. That's why I mean it's like I have one uncle and he is like the trope of an uncle.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing. He said like the NFL, like it's bullshit that there's all these calls or these like things that like protect guys. And it was just insane. And I'm telling him, I'm like, he's like, well, yeah, it's like, they put these rules in and how are these guys supposed to stop? I'm like, well, it's the rules.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? It's like saying, how is a guy supposed to stop doing offsides? It's like, he's just supposed to have more discipline than that.
Yeah, literally just has to control himself.
Right. The fact that there isn't a flag for, leading with your helmet on every single play implies the fact that it might be possible to not do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that's the case, then they just shouldn't do it. And his whole thing was he's telling me I don't know the speed of the game. And I was like, neither do you. You played high school football in the 70s. What are you talking about? Like, you don't know what you're talking. Like, what are you talking? Why are you getting on me like I'm like an idiot? Like, you've never played professional football either. How would you know? It's just so funny. It's like the game has changed because of the rules. And it's like, so the rules are then preventing the game from being played. It's like, no, they're just changing.
Anyway. Yeah. No,
so funny.
that's hilarious that he would say that because and when I coached high school basketball, there was one time where we got our team it's actually Sac State was nice enough to give our entire team tickets to go to a game. And if you've been to the Nest at Sac State, you will know that it is the shittiest facility in Division I. It's being replaced. I don't know if you heard about this, but they're putting a new entertainment center on campus next fall. As soon as next fall, it's going to be where the well is right now, the Student Recreation Center. They're going to kind of like modify things, and they're going to finally have a real arena where they can actually have real sports being played there. But as of right now, they're playing this thing called the Nest. It's like a shoebox. Fits about 1,200 people. It's small. It's by far the smallest facility in Division I. And when kids in high school are playing basketball, they have a certain perception about what college is like, what the pros are like, right? It's not until you actually see these guys up close when you start to realize, oh, these guys are fucking insane, right? Mind you, this is not diminishing this level of basketball at all, but this is low Division I basketball. And at the time, Sac State was one of the worst teams in Division I. They've had a slow build up to where they are now, where they're like a very serviceable low D1 program, but at the time they were coming off a 2-win season that year.
Yeah.
We were watching them play, I think, Montana State. And, like, if you watch Big Sky basketball, every single point guard is, like, 5'10", built like a bowling ball, quick as shit, and just insane amounts of just dog in them. Like, these guys just get after it, right? And, like, your centers are, like, 6'9", your power forwards are, like, 6'6". Like, these teams are built to win the Big Sky. There's a certain style of play in that conference, right? Even given that fact, watching my high school players watch these guys up close, it was like a light bulb moment for a lot of them. They're like, oh, I don't think I'm going to be playing Division I basketball, because when you were able to watch these guys up close, you're like, oh, the game. And this was college basketball a decade plus ago, in a low Division I conference. They're watching these guys and they're just saying, oh my God, like what these guys do on a basketball court is insane. And those same point guards that I was talking about, they average like 6 points a game.
Yeah, right.
But
and never even maybe sniff the G League. You know what I mean?
Like maybe play overseas.
Yeah,
and like
one guy might end up in the NBA.
Like either playing, he's like maybe like a rotation guy on like a middle tier club in like the highest tier of basketball over in a European country, or he's playing like second division basketball.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually buddies with the guy who's the all-time Division I leading scorer at Sac State for men's basketball.
Yeah.
And right now he's playing over in I think he's playing over in Germany.
Probably having the time of his life.
Not
diminishing it at all.
He's getting paid to play the game that he loves.
It'd be awesome.
And he's been playing professional basketball.
It's
ever
like
since
us
he
in
graduated.
podcasting.
Literally.
Just doing what we love, getting paid out the wazoo,
millions of dollars to do what we love.
Several hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Even
a
if
minute.
it was significantly less than that, at least we're getting paid for
I would take tens of thousands of dollars per minute to do this,
dude,
and
literally.
be happy with it.
And
Absolutely.
these guys are living
Luckily,
the
I'm
life.
being paid much more.
Thankfully. But these guys, like, it's just like watching high school players realize that in real time.
Yeah.
Gives you an idea of how fast the game can be. That's just at the college level, right?
Yeah.
And you and I have been very lucky to see like NBA players up close.
It's
right?
insane.
It's insane. I can't even imagine what it would be like to stand on the sideline during a football game in the NFL and just watch these guys do what they do.
Yeah.
Because those guys are not supposed, like those linemen and those linebackers, when you're that big, there's no way you should be able to move like that.
Yep.
But they do. It's just like,
yeah,
it's insane. These guys are absolute freaks. But
yeah,
I believe I'm on your uncle's side, though. I think he does know the speed of the game better than you.
Totally.
So.
Well, my uncle definitely could have been all pro if he had just played much more football and tried much harder in his life. That's for sure.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all.
There's no doubt that the 6 foot tall white guy would have been a guy in the NFL had he been able to figure it out. But anyway, yeah, it's funny. Just the sports conversations you have to have with people sometimes.
Nuts.
I was just looking at the TV like while he's talking into my ear about it. I'm just like, you're insane, dude. This is crazy.
Just to wrap up this conversation, did you see the clip of Jerry Stackhouse playing against highly ranked high school recruits and just absolutely just giving them hell?
No.
Jerry Stackhouse.
I haven't seen that.
Jerry Stackhouse.
I remember that clip of Brian Scalabrine a few years ago.
Yeah, we've talked about that. Like that, yeah, he's right. He says, I remember he told those guys, I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me.
Yeah.
It's 100% true.
Yeah.
But Jerry Stackhouse, head coach of Vanderbilt basketball, showed up to a camp or some sort of event where there were a whole bunch of 4- and 5-star recruits, and he was just playing them one-on-one, and he was just beating the shit out of them.
That's awesome.
And you're just like, wow. Yeah, I think you got to be pretty good to be in the NBA, because this guy who, if he's not in the Hall of Fame, he probably will be one day.
Yeah.
The guy could absolutely fill it. If you know anything about Jerry Stackhouse, like, guy was a bucket, right? And he was playing these kids one-on-one, like just pregame or like during one of their practices or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was busting their ass, dude.
That's
like,
great.
And then some guy, I saw some NBA writer quote that video clip of him beating those kids one-on-one, and he said, yeah, when I was in high school, 59-year-old Oscar Robertson, so this is Kings related, because Oscar Robertson is probably the best player in Kings history. If you're looking,
De'Aaron Fox is alive, dude. Come on.
That is true. I got to be fair.
Come on.
And also Francisco Garcia, Spencer Hawes.
No, yeah. He's certainly
Quincy
the most
Doobie.
accomplished. I think it's a fruitless task to compare
Eras,
generations of talent. But yeah, he is regarded
at
as
least
one of the best.
with counting stats, right? Like the guys, he has every record. This guy said that 59-year-old Oscar Robertson fresh off of like a surgery and had a gut, showed up to his high school one day just to get some run in, and was like automatic and was just busting kids like literally like 40 years younger than him, that he was just busting their ass and just like literally just beating the hell out of them.
That's awesome.
59-year-old Oscar
Yeah,
Robertson.
because it's probably, it's like once you get that good at something, it probably becomes like jujitsu, where it's just like body placement. Like that's all you need to do to be able to dominate, is know exactly where your body should be.
Yep.
And if your shot is still there, you're gonna get yourself open every single time.
And just it's just like knowing how to use your like knowing how to use your body, positioning and all that stuff. And it's just like these kids have like no chance against 59-year-old Oscar Robertson fresh off of like a heart surgery.
Right, exactly. The last thing I'll say is, if you're one of those guys who is like, I could probably be in the NBA, go get therapy, dude. You're just trying to say you didn't play enough sports in life to be satisfied.
Yeah, just accept it.
We've done 30 minutes and barely spoken about the Kings, which is great for me. I do not mind at all. But we probably should. We had a whole run of games last week. We recorded before the Mavericks pod.
Yes.
Okay, so we didn't talk about the Mavericks game. We didn't talk about the two Pelicans games. Mm-hmm. And the Wolves game. So,
well, the Pelicans games, kind of the same thing with the two Rockets games. I'm told that they may have been played.
Yes, right. I haven't seen the footage of it yet. Maybe we should start there, because the Mavericks game is,
Yeah, it was a while ago, but also just I guess a quick recap of that would be it was just a clinical beatdown of a team that
Kings looked great.
The Mavs were accused of playing a fairly soft schedule up until that point, hadn't really played too many difficult teams. And the Kings went into Dallas and just beat the hell out of them in that second half.
Yep. And to pat myself on the back here, I've been a Dallas naysayer.
Okay.
The royally stupid heads will know, episode 2, I called the Mavericks being a team I definitely don't think are going to be. If they're in the playoff conversation, they'll be in the play-in tournament, undoubtedly.
Okay.
I'm putting undoubtedly on that. And that was before I knew what Derek Lively was, and I think he's a spectacular talent.
He's awesome.
I still just don't think they have enough.
They're on. As of right now, they're only a half game above the Kings. They're 10-6, and they were the second seed a week ago.
I just think a team that's asking significant minutes out of like Derek Jones Jr. is like I cannot believe in that team.
And like Dwight Powell and
I like guys I like as players.
Yeah.
I think Dwight Powell fills a nice role, but
I like Josh Green as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
They just need a lot from these guys.
They do ask a lot.
I don't like Tim Hardaway Jr. that much, but it's the same thing where it's like you're asking a fucking lot of guys who are rotational players. They're not sixth man types,
Right.
Okay, so Monday against the Pelicans. What do you see? The Kings score 93. Is that concerning for you?
No, it's not concerning.
Okay.
Obviously, hindsight 2020. We know what happened since, but they looked a little tired, man. And it was a little unfortunate because when you take care of, see, that's the thing about the NBA too, is like no lead is safe.
Yep.
So I don't fault Mike Brown for not subbing out Fox and Sabonis and some of the main guys.
You're talking in the Mavericks win.
Against the Mavericks win, because obviously that would have saved some legs. They just looked tired on Monday night, man. They just looked exhausted. I'll never know what it's like to fly from one city to another.
Yeah.
And get there at 1 a.m. and then have shoot around the next morning, and then you got to play a game later that night. Like, that's just like an insane concept to me that I never realized was that crazy until probably like a decade ago. So they look tired. They just look tired. They just didn't look right. Also, injuries. That was, Keon Ellis had been in the rotation and had been playing minutes up until that Mavs game. He was getting floor time.
Yep.
Messed up his ankle and didn't play against the Pelicans on Monday night.
Yeah.
And without Keon Ellis in the lineup, that record is not great.
Yep.
So that probably was the main thing that I look to.
I would say
when I try to rationalize, like, why did they lose that
undoubtedly
game?
It's like, are the Kings, like, the kind of the conversation of the season has been, are the Kings a bad team without De'Aaron Fox? I'm going to say, are the Kings even a basketball team without Keon Ellis?
Yeah, that's a fair question to ask.
It feels like they might not even be, it might just be at that point just like 14 guys all wearing the same clothes.
Yes.
Like they don't even have a semblance of an ability. So
no chemistry. No togetherness.
The fact they have won a game without him is nothing short of a miracle.
insane that they have. Pretty wild. So yeah, I'll chalk that one up to tired legs, no Keon.
The Pelicans game, no big deal Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday night, my brain starts to run here, and it's less about the Kings and more about a couple other things. I mean, I guess it has something to do with the Kings, but I'm not making a bigger point about the Kings as a team. Just like we talked about after that Rockets game, is the West is insane.
Yes.
And I do have a bit of a theory working here, which is just like, it's tough for sure, but are these... The NBA has built in these like 2-game series, we'll call them. And the Kings have lost both games in both of the ones they've done this year, where they've stayed in a city overnight. And both times got blown out in game 1.
Yeah.
Now, I can't draw a pattern from such a small sample size, but there is something to, I think, in basketball, getting the fuck out of town.
Yes.
Like, in basketball, you are so lucky to be able to escape from bad losses. In baseball, you really develop a reflex to turn a new leaf. And in football, you know that regardless of win or loss, you have an entire week back at home to get over anything. So,
right.
The effects of it are not felt as much. But going from a nice win in Dallas to a blowout the next night in New Orleans felt... you couldn't, if you were going to put stake into one, you got to put stake into both. And I didn't really put much stake into the Dallas game, to be honest with you. I thought that's what the Kings should do to the Mavericks.
Yep. I agree.
The thing that's a little bit concerning to me is the Rockets and the Pelicans are two teams that the Kings should be beating at least once in those games. So I'm just wondering if maybe the NBA should reevaluate this protocol that was a COVID protocol.
Yeah, it was a COVID thing that's kind of just stuck around.
Yeah, and I think it's stuck around partially because the players probably enjoy it. But I do think it removes something from the... If I'm a Rockets player and I go and I smash the fuck out of the Kings and I know I get to play them 2 games later, I'm excited. Same with the Pelicans. Now, the other thing, Kings side, that is concerning to me about both of those games, or both of those teams, I suppose, is it's really seems to be about length on defensive wings.
Yeah.
That seems to
just
be
the physicality.
The physicality and the amount of space that those teams can take up with just sticking their arms out seems to be a problem for the Kings.
Like Herb Jones by himself was absolutely
Trey Murphy.
wrecking. Yeah.
Trey Murphy just had some plays where it's just like, oh, he just locked down simply by clogging passing lanes. But yeah, you're right. Herb Jones is a guy. Even Brandon Ingram, who's not like a great defender, but has just like long enough limbs. And I think that's
Dyson Daniels.
Dyson Daniels
extremely
long.
too.
Even isn't Nickeil Alexander-Walker still there?
No, he's in Minnesota.
That's right. That's why I saw him.
Najee Marshall. They have guys. And
very,
then,
very long.
Jose
guys.
Alvarado made his season debut in the first of that 2-game series. And I'm a fan of his just because of his story. Obviously, it's so cool that and that's the trajectory that I hope that Keon follows. Obviously, because Alvarado was a 2-way guy that ended up getting a standard. I hope that's the same thing that Keon gets, and probably for the same reasons it would be. Just his defense and just like the tenacity that the guy shows out there. Definitely, I mean, you could just tell he's a fan favorite. He walked onto the court, came off the bench that first game. That place gave him a standing ovation. And usually that arena's dead ass quiet.
Yeah, they were louder for him on stuff than like Brandon Ingram.
Yeah,
or Zion.
Or like Zion Williamson bullying somebody and just like going right through them. They were way more excited about Jose Alvarado. So it kind of shows you how much he means to like that team and that fan base. But they have guys. They just have guys that are just. They have problems. They're pit bulls, man. Yep. Like they get after it and they don't make it easy for you and they take you out of what you want to do.
Yeah.
And it results in what it resulted in those first really 6.5 quarters that we saw in New Orleans. It really wasn't until late in the third quarter of the second game was when the Kings finally started realizing, we should probably start trying to actually run our stuff, and that's when good stuff started happening
and get some buckets because they were just cold as shit. And not on some Uncle Dave shit, but like. I do think that the Kings have more of a fancy game. You know what I mean? A lot more finesse. And so a little concerning when you see them bump up against these tougher physical teams.
Right.
Again, not on some uncle stuff where I'm like, We need some more dogs. We need guys.
And we need more post touches.
If I was Saw-Shot body slam. Yeah, more post touches. Whatever happened to the post up game?
Yeah, seriously. Whatever happened to the back to the basket?
They need
game,
a guy like Tim Duncan.
Nobody knows how to throw an entry pass
That's
to the post
it,
these
dude.
days anymore.
That
man.
is exactly it. No one knows how to enter the post anymore. But I do think that the Kings maybe could benefit from not necessarily more physicality, but just offensively they don't have like a game if the shot's not falling, and that's kind of what I saw in like you said, the first 6 quarters of Pelicans basketball. Also, saw the Pelicans vision. I don't know if it's sustainable, but it's like you can see like if Zion and BI can score the ball, this team does make some sense. Again, I don't know if it's sustainable. I'm not sure how much they believe in Brandon Ingram or how
they're
much...
also missing CJ McCollum.
Yeah.
And
does CJ McCollum kind of shakes it up a little bit. I actually kind of like them without McCollum.
I think a lot of fans feel that way too.
Yeah, I think that BI and Zion should just be complete focal
and the
points.
emergence. So what McCollum being out has afforded them is to see Jordan Hawkins in extended minutes. I was a huge fan of Jordan.
Right?
Yes, huge fan of Jordan Hawkins at UConn. You could see it at UConn. Like this guy he's not Ray Allen, but like he's like a player in that mold where it's just a movement shooting maestro.
Yeah.
And what I didn't give him credit for was his ability to make stuff happen with the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
Because if you can shoot the ball like that and you can initiate offense and like run a little bit of point, be at least a combo guard, it's like a cheat code for an offense. And him being out there alone, just him, opens up so much for that team. That kid can just shoot the ball. So if he stays in there,
they look solid.
Yeah, if he stays in there as opposed to CJ when CJ gets back, or if he still keeps most of his minutes, I like that a little bit better for them.
Yeah.
So,
I think that if I'm the if I'm the front office, I'm going like the 2 things the Rockets games have taught me is we're going to be challenged by length, and I don't really know what to do about that if the shot's not falling, and also we're kind of getting screwed by the schedule here. I'm happy the Kings have played the least amount of games.
Dude, 5 home games thus far.
Yeah.
10 on the road. Brutal. But if you look at the December schedule, they're home for 10 of 12.
And against some lighter opponents.
Yes, and I believe in there will be, obviously, if they make it to Vegas, which I'm sure we're going to talk about in a second.
Which they definitely will.
They will have games there, but you're not going very far away from the state of California.
Yep.
And I believe the 2 road games are like at the Clippers and at the Blazers, I believe, is the 2 road games in December. So they're not going very far. It's just it's not a very travel heavy schedule in December.
Yep, which is solid. So the games even this coming week, we're back from the road trip. So tomorrow night, we're recording this on Monday. So Tuesday Warriors, Wednesday Clippers, Saturday Nuggets. All at home. Nice, tough schedule, but some home cooking will do the Kings some good, I'm sure. Let's talk about that in-season tournament game against the Wolves on my family's Thanksgiving. Tons of travels. I think we can both talk about that.
Yes, a whole bunch.
Every
that
single
just
time.
they don't call.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
It's like they want both teams to win and lose at the same time. I know,
man.
They're screwing over everyone by not calling.
And you know who the real losers are? Us, the fans.
And the kids.
But especially the kids.
The kids.
This is what's wrong. People complain about AAU basketball all the time. This is what they're talking about. They get to the league, they don't even establish a pivot foot.
Right.
What's going on?
It's certainly not it's more of an issue the kids don't know how to throw entry passes and establish their pivot foot. Not that we're sending like 13-year-olds to for-profit private schools that are benefiting and then forcing them to go to college with no pay. Those are not issues at all for the kids. The problem with the kids are Draymond Green and I mean not Draymond Green. Draymond Green is not the problem.
He's never the problem. He's the solution always.
Rasheed Wallace is the problem.
Yes.
And Anyway, so the Minnesota game, Kings looked great. Are the Kings the greatest in-season tournament team of all time?
As of right now, no. Because the Lakers are 4-0 with a plus 74-point differential.
Yes, that's true.
But they're far and away the best in-season tournament team I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That team took it up another level. They said, wait, we get $50,000 per player guaranteed if we just make it to Vegas?
Wait, it's $500,000.
So it's $50,000 if you get to the quarterfinals.
Oh, that's right.
And if you get to the semifinals, it's $100K.
Right.
If you get to the finals, it's $250 for the second place team. And then obviously $500K for the winner. So
that's awesome.
50 racks just to get to to go to Vegas?
To go hang out in Vegas.
Yeah, sign me up. So obviously the Lakers took that very seriously.
Plus 74 differential is bonkers.
That's insane. It's like batshit crazy. Like they really turned it up for those games. It was kind of unbelievable.
And they're not like it's Phoenix, but that's bullshit, dude.
Right? Yeah, they're not at full
Memphis,
strength.
Portland, Utah.
Yeah.
I mean Memphis, Portland, and Utah in your
That
group.
is true. That they got
got
a good
three
draw.
of the weaker Western Conference teams.
Yeah, those teams were deemed as weird before the season. Now we know they're just kind of bad.
Kings got OKC, Spurs, Minnesota.
That's
and
not an easy group.
Golden State.
Not an easy group.
Yeah. It's
So
brutal.
the Minnesota game to you on Friday, was that the best win of the year?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. It's tough to say this early on. I think it certainly felt like the most indicative win of the season. Like I felt like that was my best look at what this Kings team is.
Okay.
Which is a team that really, really succeeds when everybody is contributing. And I think that is my big takeaway. Like there was a Malik Monk 3-pointer. It was his first of the game that literally felt like I had my first beer of the day. You know what I mean? Where it's like, that first sip of a beer after a long day and you're like, yeah, that's exactly what that was supposed to feel like. And Malik Monk taking like deep threes at the top of the key when he first checks into the game is exactly what that feeling is like for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that like the Kings, Trey Lyles back, full swing.
Dude, Trey Lyles looks great in that second New Orleans game even.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
Thank God that guy is back.
Yeah. Yeah, this was just the game where it felt like all of the pieces came together. You're obviously still hoping for more from Herter.
Sure.
Who I think according to 24 minutes, Malik Monk 29. But like Davion, 5 points in 9 minutes. 2 of 2 from the field, 1 of 1 from 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. It's like the Kings just need performances like that from 11 guys a night, and they are going to be a solid team. And that's what that Minnesota game felt like to me.
Yeah. Just in case you guys didn't know, Minnesota up to that point did not have a home loss.
Yeah.
They still are the first seed in the Western Conference. They're 12-4 as of this moment.
Yeah.
And they had the league's best defense.
Yep.
And the Kings went in there, put 124
Said,
on them.
no, you don't.
And said, no, you guys are fraudulent. You guys haven't proven anything. You guys haven't played anybody until you guys played us. And yeah, man, that just a clinical dismantling of the Timberwolves, particularly in the second half. They did have a 22-point lead at one point. Mm-hmm. That was capped off by that awesome Malik dunk in transition off that pass from Fox. And Minnesota, good team, did what a good team does. They stuck around, they got stops, they strung some stops together, closed the gap. But in the second half, I mean, the Kings just they were firing on all cylinders. And shout out to Kings Film Room again. He's going to hear this late because Fresno has 56K dial-up internet. But
maybe you can go to the Fresno State Library and get it on tape.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
maybe it'll be there in time.
Yeah, it'll be. I don't know. Usually the turnaround time on that is like 2 weeks. So he might have to wait an extra week. But he did a great breakdown about the Horns play that they ran, which is just a double ball screen up top. The point guard chooses a side to go to, and it was a play that Mike Brown talked about it after the game.
Yep.
They ran by KFR's count 17 times in the second half, and they just spammed that play because the Timberwolves had absolutely no answer for it. And that really was the coaching adjustment that really kind of broke that game wide open for the Kings in the second half. So.
Yeah, totally. And maybe that game even looks better for the Kings if Keegan Murray is playing.
Yeah,
because they were really exposing.
They were exposing Cat.
They were exposing. Yeah. I mean, Cat and Naz Reid, I thought both had struggles on the perimeter. On defense, I think that seeing them with they were without their best wing scoring option, the Kings.
Yes, and HB looked great attacking off of those horn sets.
Yeah,
because they were forcing, these guys, even Gobert, because he's not comfortable.
And the Timberwolves without McDaniels, by the way.
That is true.
So they're missing
that's a huge
key piece on
loss.
defense.
Yeah. Because if he's out there. And you're running him next to Gobert, or running him and Naz Reid out there together.
Exactly. It's a lot easier.
HB
easier was exposing Cat.
Dude, it was insane. It was probably outside of the first game of the season, probably his best game since then.
Yeah.
HB was really, really aggressive and decisive, attacking off those closeouts whenever Fox would dribble penetrate off of that horn set.
Yep.
But if you plug in Keegan there instead of HB, you're like, oh my god, Keegan had been playing pretty well up to that point too. So. Probably would have been able to knock down some shots. Probably would have been able to get to the rack. It would have been nice to see, but Keegan out with a back injury. That's one thing we haven't even mentioned at all in this podcast is the fact that the Kings have been very injured.
Yeah,
right.
They got hurt pretty bad.
But have stayed afloat in spite of that, and you got to give a shout out to the coaching staff for just like that's what good coaching staffs do is they will adapt and then they will say, all right, well, until you guys prove you can stop it, we're going to keep running it. And they ran that play a ton in the second half, and it made Fox, Sabonis, Barnes, they all looked great playing out of that set.
Yeah. So Fox is literally injecting himself into the MVP discussion.
Right. Now, early on in the season, I'm told you're not too big a fan of that discussion this early on in the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's valuable in the sense that we're trying to do like an hour podcast every week. Like, I see the value in it. I was hearing someone talk about Coach of the Year candidates, and I was like, what are you talking about? How does that even make sense? Like, isn't it been pretty chalk up to this point in the season? I mean, is that like
basically
Mark Daignault? I guess it's probably Finch.
Yeah, it's
probably Chris Finch right now, right?
It'll be either Finch or Daignault.
But like,
it's
who
probably
cares?
one of those two guys. But also, who gives a shit?
Yeah, the Timberwolves, like we just saw on Friday, like they have a formula that can be. I know Jaden McDaniel is a big part of this, but Karl-Anthony Towns looked bad on defense, and that was exactly what everyone was afraid of with this formation they have out there.
Yeah.
With these two bigs
behemoths
who are polar opposites of each other, but somehow still don't complement each other.
Yeah, it is odd.
It is like really, really bizarre. And it's looked better this year, but anyway, my point was like debating that shit is interesting. But I just mean Fox turned out another performance where you're like, okay, maybe this is less, abnormal. Maybe he's not going to be a 23 a night guy anymore.
Right.
He's a 29 a night guy.
Yeah, he is normalized.
That's what he's trending towards.
He has normalized performances like that where he just takes over.
Yeah,
and we don't even really bat an eye anymore. We're just like, oh, okay. Same thing with Domas. He had 23, 13, and 8. Oh, okay. Another night at the office.
Oh man, Sabonis only had 15 points on his triple double. What a bummer.
Wow, that guy lost the Halliburton trade, man. Can't believe we traded away.
We definitely did lose that Halliburton. We gave him up for nothing, man.
Yeah, we got nothing in return.
Nothing in return.
Yeah, and then everybody was telling us that Domas was in a contract year too. Like, why would you trade Tyrese Halliburton, who you had 7 years of team control with, for Domas, who's going to leave that summer?
Yeah, it's exactly. I mean, it was such a waste of a trade. We definitely didn't get anything.
Unbelievable. But yeah, great win in Minnesota. Just fantastic win. We saw it all. Yeah. Coaching, your best player shining, and then your role players doing what they needed to do in order to get that win out of the way. And in the end, it ended up with the Kings 3-0 as of this moment in group play for the in-season tournament, plus 29-point differential. Handful of scenarios can happen, but regardless, Tuesday against the Warriors, that's for all the marbles.
Totally, yeah, and we'll find out on Tuesday what it's all worth, really.
It's worth $500K.
Yeah, well, I mean, do these wins amount to anything, or are they just nice, notches in the belt? I really think this team should be encouraged by how they performed under pressure. I think that's one thing that in-season tournament kind of does. Simulate a little bit is like, what are these guys like?
And now you were telling me you were a huge fan of I mean, we've talked about it before.
I'm a
but
big fan.
It's been a rousing success.
Yeah, I couldn't be happier with it, and I think that the league needs to start like almost punishing players who are like pissed off guys are shooting at the end of the games. Like, you're not paying attention to what this is. DeMar DeRozan was like, I know that there's a point differential, and it's still mean. Is like, you're an idiot. This is like these guys are balling for the
it's just like, no,
check,
man,
dude.
You have to, Dame Lillard came out and he talked about this. He said, look, we take the in-season tournament seriously because there are guys on this roster who are on two-ways, who are on minimums, right? These guys, I mean, it's not, if you're an NBA player of any sort, what is life-changing money, really, right? Yeah. But regardless, it's $500K. And the guys at the end of these rosters, the end of these benches, these guys on two-ways being shuttled back and forth between their G League teams and the main roster, they could use that money. Like that will help them. And I think that is the philosophy with a lot of teams. I think a lot of these guys on a lot of these teams have realized, like, oh yeah, this could be a difference maker for a lot of dudes. That's what they're playing for. And also for that fucking trophy. I want that trophy.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want to be, I mean, if De'Aaron Fox, this is something I've been talking about with people, is like, already got clutch player of the year, 3 in-season tournament wins. a championship,
Yeah.
an MVP, an in-season tournament MVP. These are things Michael Jordan's never done.
Yes, exactly.
And these move us up the GOAT ladder if we're De'Aaron Fox. So I'm rooting for that for those reasons. I think De'Aaron Fox could solidify himself by the end of the in-season tournament as maybe 1A, 1B with Michael Jordan.
Right.
So
yeah.
that's
that's really what this is all about.
Within that same breath, LeBron James has 3 in-season tournament wins.
Right.
And a couple more accolades over De'Aaron Fox. So we need the in-season tournament win against the Lakers to really push.
Right.
Because what is more important than the in-season tournament to this point in the season? Nothing. So in terms of the pressure, De'Aaron Fox is cooking with under pressure right now.
Exactly. Yep.
And is shining. So
Yep.
who cares about finals?
Really simple scenario for the Kings on Tuesday against the Warriors. By the way, genius scheduling by the NBA. Having the Warriors and the Kings play in the last in-season tournament group game.
Back in Golden One.
Back at Golden
The
One
Mecca.
Center.
The Mecca, as they call it.
Yeah,
in the NBA.
everybody knows that's where real hoops is played. It's
Yes.
Golden One Center in the heart of downtown Sacramento.
Yes.
Pretty simple. The Kings win, they're in.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one scenario. Now, the Kings could still lose and still get in. It really just depends on point differential. As of right now, though, the Kings are plus 29 point differential. Essentially, they would have to get blown out, and then Minnesota would have to. I think Minnesota would have to win in order to get that into a 3-way tiebreaker with the Warriors, and then.
Wait, is there a wild card from each division?
Yeah, so there's a wild card from each conference.
Okay.
And it's just the team with the best record, and then after that, the tiebreaker is point differential. Right now, it appears to be Phoenix.
Okay.
So
the Kings would need to lose not only the game on Tuesday, but also by a wide margin to be bumped out of first place of their division.
Yes. Yeah. So basically what it comes down to is...
Who's the leading point differential that isn't leading their division right now?
I believe it's Phoenix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I wanna
because
say it's
Phoenix is in that Lakers division.
Yeah. So, pretty simple, though. Like, you control your own destiny if you're the Kings. Just win the game on please, for the love of God.
That'd be awesome.
Would really be nice to beat the Warriors.
Dude, I mean, the Kings would then no NBA championships, but a couple summer leagues championships and then an in-season tournament win. That'd be awesome. I mean, we would be the title. Did you watch wrestling at all when you were growing up?
Dude, yes.
It's like never winning the belt, but you got the Intercontinental Championship 13
When did
times.
you stop watching wrestling?
I stopped watching wrestling in like 2009,
Okay.
probably. Yeah.
Do you remember CM Punk at all?
Of course, dude.
So he just
came back at Survivor Series. That's the funny thing is I follow it like nostalgically.
Yeah.
Like I would not flip on some Survivor Series, but like the idea that there's Survivor Series matches happening, like it makes my blood flow. You know what I mean?
I have not followed it very closely since probably 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
By that point I was in my 30s.
When I was watching wrestling, CM Punk was coming up on the ECW.
Yeah, he was on
reboot.
ECW. Yeah.
I used to watch him versus like Sabu.
Yeah.
I was a big Sabu fan.
Yeah, him versus like Tommy Dreamer.
Tommy Dreamer, sure. Yeah, the Sandman.
The Sandman. Yeah,
I love ECW. Holy shit.
Yeah, holy shit. Yeah, RVD too.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
But no, yeah, I'm definitely usually don't tune in, but my friends were talking about it, and I was just like, all right. And one of my buddies, shout out to my guy Alex, he called it. It was like at noon on Saturday. He said, Cult of Personality is going to hit at Survivor Series tonight, and it's going to hit like crack. And like up until the moment where he actually came out, we all thought it was done. It was Jover. He's not showing up. The big return that night was apparently just going to be Randy Orton, right?
Yeah.
Then his music hits, and it's just like,
was a huge
oh
pop.
my God, the pop was insane.
Yeah.
And he and a couple other friends in this group text that I'm in, they were like, oh, like, we're locked in. We're watching Survivor Series. I was more locked in on the fact that I'm a Cal Bears. I'm wearing for those of you watching the video feed, I'm wearing a Berkeley sweater right now. I'm a huge Cal fan. And Cal beat UCLA on Saturday night in order to gain bowl eligibility, so they're probably going to go to like the Pop-Tarts Bowl or something like that.
Sure.
So big shout out to them. So I was more locked in on that.
The in-season tournament of bowls.
Essentially. Yes, that basically was it. It was essentially a quasi like play-in game to get to a bowl.
Yeah.
And I was more locked in on that, but Survivor Series was about to wind down as the Cal game was going to start. And so my friends were talking about it, and I was like, well, I have, it's on Peacock. I was like, I'll put it on.
Oh, it was free to watch?
If you have Peacock, WWE Network
shit.
like comes with it. Yeah.
Oh, I
So
thought
you
it
get
still
all the-
costs money now.
Technically it does, but if you have Peacock, then it just is included in it. So
Oh,
it's-
interesting.
yeah,
No,
it's
I
pretty
thought that like WWE was an add-on to Peacock now because I
cool.
have
No, it's not.
Peacock.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
no,
shit,
it's just
nice.
I have the base version, and you have it. Yeah.
Nice.
So I put it on. just in time for that last match, which was called the War Games match.
Mhm.
And yeah, dude, I was like about to just completely tune out because I had Survivor Series on my iPad and the cow came on my TV, and I was like pretty close to just like swiping out of the app on my iPad, and then I hear the music. Yeah, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
That's badass.
And I fucking lost it, dude. Like,
Yeah.
my friend took a screenshot of our reactions in our group text, and he tweeted it out, and it's just us, like, sending gibberish into the chat. Like,
That's awesome.
For, like, 20 consecutive messages.
Yeah.
So,
CM
yeah.
Punk rules.
Yeah, he does.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
All right, you want to give us some plugs? What do you got going on? Where can people find you? Where can people see
man, oh man, I just want to, just definitely want to shout out the Midtown guys again, man. That was a great event that they put on
So
Saturday,
cool.
the
So
King
cool.
Swap. So I'm sure you guys saw Drew and I posting about it a lot. If you couldn't make it out this time, definitely try to make it out the next time.
Absolutely.
Some of the most ruthless shit I've ever seen. Kids getting presents
Kids
stolen
getting their
from
shit
them.
snatched.
Like, it was
a kid got a jersey Debo.
yeah,
from him,
man.
and then put on right in front
And
of him.
then
A Brian Grant 33.
A Brian Grant
black
number
Kings
33 classic 96 to 2002 jersey.
Yeah.
Put on right in front of him.
Right in front of him. Said, "Give me that shit."
Yeah.
Go get a new
He
gift.
literally got bullied for that.
It was mean, but hey,
Yeah.
it was a good time, and yeah, we're definitely doing more of them. And also, if you have like a different venue where you're like, you guys should do one here, throw it out to us. We'll talk
Yeah.
to the people.
Yeah.
We want to do as many of them as possible.
Yeah,
so.
I guess by extension, also shout out to Greg.
Greg Cotta is.
Greg Cotta,
the man.
owner of Seasons. If you haven't been to Seasons Coffee,
And if you're in Sacramento, go to Seasons.
go
Coffee.
to Seasons Coffee. That place is so good.
If you're like, why would I go to Seasons Coffee? Well, I don't drink coffee. Well, I might be running comedy shows there soon, so come see a show.
Yeah, that might also be a thing. Sources have told me that
yes,
is.
we're in preliminary discussions.
That there are preliminary discussions there.
There's
So
a Woj tweet that says the Kings are in conversation for Demonis Sabonis.
But shout out to Greg, man. Just the best.
Yeah.
Great event. Shout out to Midtown guys, Darren, Derek, all those dudes.
Yeah,
man. Like, just
absolutely.
Those guys are awesome. And shout out to everybody who showed up.
Shout out Belgium too while we're at it.
And yeah, and once again, shout out to the country of Belgium.
You can get me on Instagram at Drew Apsher's Dumb. I've not been posting anywhere very frequently. I've been kind of offline. I've been growing my hair out, meditating. I've been going full shaman. So
Yeah, and
I'm
I
trying to
respect
become
it.
the sublime one.
Last thing I'll plug is SAG-AFTRA.
Oh, okay.
I don't think the union members are happy with the contract that they tentatively agreed to.
Is that true?
We might be going back on strike.
Is that true?
That may
Are
be a
you
possibility.
breaking news on the podcast?
I'm not. It's out there.
Okay.
Because they released the full draft of the tentative agreement, and there's still some weird AI language that they need to get rid of. So
Interesting.
shout out to. I'm not even in the union yet. I've abstained from joining for now because I want.
They have your draft rights.
They do. Yes, they do. Because literally the next union job I work, they'll be like, "Bitch, you better pay us your, whatever the initiation fee is."
Yes.
But shout out to my union, my future union. They're fighting for us. Really, really hope this gets resolved. That's like we all just want to go back to work. But
I thought nobody wants to work anymore. That's what my uncle said at
okay,
Thanksgiving.
so that is also true, but also
But in this case,
but in
everyone
this
does want to
case,
work really
these
badly.
These people want to work. These actors want to work. So I guess shout out to SAG-AFTRA. Hopefully that gets done. I feel bad for the people who have like kind of gotten back to work.
Yeah.
And are maybe about to not be able to work anymore. But that vote is coming soon. Hopefully that gets all resolved. So shout out to SAG-AFTRA. And then, yeah, you can find me on Instagram, jru.e. Same thing for Threads. And then on Twitter, of course, it's that local guy. The O is a 0. And just hope everybody has a great post-Thanksgiving week.
Yep.
And can't believe it's almost
Take
December.
it easy. Don't work too hard. Remember, Christmas breaks right around the corner, and your boss doesn't do anything for you for that.
Yep.
All he does is give you a bonus that gets taxed to hell by the government.
Yes, exactly.
So don't work hard.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't work hard.
Watch this podcast on your work computer.
Mm-hmm.
If there's only going to be a couple seconds after this sentence, but if so, pull it up on YouTube on your work computer right now and finish the podcast
Yes. Yep.
while you're at work.
And if you're at Golden One Center on Tuesday night, if the Kings win or if they simply advance to the knockout round, we're burning trash on the
nice.
turf in front of the arena. Meet us outside. It's going to
Okay.
be pretty cool.
Good. I'm sure the Kings will love that. All right, we'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.